Hello, content creators. Today, I want to talk about something I think a lot of people quietly struggle with when it comes to live streaming. Because before I started live streaming regularly, I really thought the biggest problem was my setup. My background didn't look good enough. I didn't look good enough on camera. I needed better overlays, better lighting, better systems. I basically thought I needed to feel way more ready before I could finally go live. And maybe some of you relate to that as well. Because I think when people talk about live streaming online, they often make it sound really easy and natural. Just press go live. You've got this. But when you're the one sitting there about to press that button for the very first time, it can feel surprisingly vulnerable. You suddenly become really aware of how you look, your room, your voice, whether you'll say something funny, awkward, or silly, or whether anyone will even show up. And I spent a lot of time preparing before I even really started. So what the interesting thing is, or what finally helped me get more comfortable live streaming, wasn't building the perfect setup. And by the end of this stream, I think you'll probably understand why going live can start feeling emotionally heavy sometimes, even when it's something you really, really want to do. Because I don't think most people avoid live streaming because they don't care about it. I think sometimes the whole thing slowly starts feeling bigger and more overwhelming than it actually needs to be. And I think a lot of us keep preparing because preparing feels safer than actually pressing go live. So I'm curious about this actually. What feels hardest about live streaming for you right now? Is it the setup, your confidence, not knowing what to talk about, feeling awkward on camera, worrying that nobody will show up? For me, before I started live streaming about 3 years ago, it was probably a mixture of all those stuff. But I think the biggest one was feeling like I needed everything to look right before I could even begin. Like my setup needed to look more professional. My background needed to look nicer. My background now, I love it, but if you go back and have a look at my background throughout the years, it has evolved, it has changed. Or that I needed to feel more confident on camera first. And because of that, I kept thinking, yeah, I'll start soon. Just not yet. So if you're here live, feel free to share it in the chat. And if you're watching the replay later on, I genuinely love to also hear your answer in the comment section as well. Because I think more people struggle with this than we actually realize. So now I remember constantly thinking, okay, once I sort this setup properly, then I'll finally start. But that mindset can drag on for ages, and it did for me. I think I started live streaming end of 2022, but had seen friends, content creators, friends of mine, do it a year or so before that. And I thought, that's not for me. It's not what I do. Because there's actually always something else that I was thinking that I could improve. I could add another camera, add another microphone, watch another tutorial first. Another creator whose setup looks more polished than yours and you're comparing. And meanwhile, you never actually get the experience that helps live streaming feel more normal. And that's the thing I eventually realized. I didn't become comfortable first and then start live streaming. I got more comfortable because I kept live streaming. And that's what changed things for me. Not confidence first, experience first. And then confidence slowly followed after. So most of the things I worried about in the beginning barely matter to me right now. At the time, I thought my background mattered so much. And I've heard so many content creators who haven't gone live worried about their background. They want a green screen, that their office or their home doesn't look aesthetically pleasing. I also worried about how I looked on camera. And I thought that mattered so much. You know, my skin through my teenage and early 20s, I've had acne, and so it's not smooth. I've got a missing tooth right here that fell off. It's a baby tooth that fell off when I turned 50. And I went, oh, people are going to look at that. No one has actually said anything, or they're kind enough not to say anything. Or whether I sounded awkward mattered so much. You know how we never really like our own voice? But after enough live streams, you slowly realize people care way more about connection, your honesty, the usefulness of the value and the content that you share, and feeling comfortable around you than whether your lighting is perfect. Now, I was actually looking back at some of my old live stream earlier, and it's funny because I can still remember what I was worried about at the time. So let me show you my previous live stream. Let me make sure this works. Okay, so I've got my main channel, Marianne Cresp. And so on my live stream, let's look at the oldest one, my very first live stream. Let me make sure first. I'm just going to put the sound effects so then it's muted. So let's check it out. It's probably going to go through some ads first. So in 2025, just 2025, I live streamed 154 times. Now, am I perfect now? No. Do I still stumble? Yes. All right, so here we go. Good old Marianne of 2022. Let's pop the volume on and let us see. Oh, you will hear the shakiness of my voice. Let's have a listen. Well, make sure I've muted it first. Okay, what did I do? I removed the widget off camera. Let's do that again. See, these are the things that'll happen when you go live. Scary. Okay, so pop that back on. And let's try this one more time, Marianne. Okay, let's have a look. Joining me. This is my very first live, and I'm so nervous. So if you're here, welcome. I was so ready for a couple of hours, got all my boys and my husband, told them to go away and, you know, make sure that, let me just stop this thing going here. Okay, all right. I think I need to take a breath. So if you're here, welcome. My name's Marianne, and through my own planning, I hope to inspire you in your own. I do planning, budgeting, habit tracking, well-being, and so hopefully you can get some inspiration from what I do every day. So, okay, my heart rate's going really fast. Thank you so much. If you're here, let me just see. I'll pause it right there so you can see. Well, I don't know if you could hear my heart beating so fast. That was actually the second try. I went live probably 5 minutes before that, but I didn't know about, you know, echo cancellation. So there was like a loop back, I think that's what it's called, where I was hearing my own voice through my computer speaker and it kept looping and it kept getting louder and louder. And I was panicking. That is why you could see like that bit of hair there was like sticking to my forehead like that, because I was so sweaty trying to get back on. And then, so that's me being nervous. Okay, so here's another one where I had I don't even know why I'm showing this one, but let's quickly have a look where there was a big pimple on my chin. it honestly looked like another head was growing.
Do you wake up in the morning having that uneasy feeling which pretty much can derail your day right from the
Yikes.
start? In today's video, I'm going to show you how taking 2 to 3 minutes in the morning to journal your feeling can help.
And you can even see I'm looking to the side at my notes. So I've kept that on there, all right? I've kept this video on my YouTube channel at Marianne Crest to remind me how far I have come along. And then another one with regards to setup. So this one is, let's have a look, how I have evolved throughout the years. There we are. I'm dancing away. I have a 5-minute countdown. And so I have all these different things because I saw other live streamers do that. You're going to find your own way, but you can only find your own way by doing it. Okay, so I've tweaked my background so many times. You are going to evolve as you go on. So you don't have to be perfect right at the beginning. There's sessions there or live streams where I was way too close to the camera and I was overthinking how everything looked. Now at the time, those things felt huge to me, okay? But looking back now, none of those things were the reasons I improved at live streaming. So it wasn't that I had the best background. It wasn't when I looked good or I put makeup on or I didn't have any pimples or, I had the right things to say, that I didn't stumble, that my microphone wasn't on. What actually helped was just continuing to do it little by little, showing up again and again. Okay, so what helped me most was making live streaming easier to return to. And that changed a lot for me. Not how do I make things impressive, but how do I make this feel a lot more manageable enough that I'll actually keep showing up. And you won't know what is simple, easy, a great workflow until you actually go through the motions. You can plan as much as you want, but actually doing it live will help you build those muscles, of knowing exactly where to press, what to do next. Because once live streaming starts feeling emotionally heavy for you, guess what's going to happen? You're going to start avoiding it, even if you really want to go live. So lately I've been simplifying parts of my workflow again. Because as you go through, you want to add more, you want to create a great production, you see other things that you see from other content creators, podcasters, live streamers, and that's all part of the process and part of the fun. Because over time, I noticed I slowly started adding more and more stuff, overlays, fancy stuff, more scenes, more prep, more decisions. And sometimes too many options just make live streaming feel more overwhelming. And I used to think I needed loads of scenes and transitions and all these different setups. It's wonderful to be able to create borders, create overlays, create transitions that fly in and out. They're all great as well. But if they're going to create friction for you, or you think you have to have those before you start live streaming, then those are the things that's going to hold you back. But now I mostly want live streaming to feel calm and easy to return to. And when I'm calm, then my audience and the viewers will feel that as well. Because for me personally, consistency got easier once the process stopped feeling emotionally exhausting before I even started. So if you're like planning and tweaking way before you even press go live, you've depleted your energy. How can you show up with the best intention for your viewers when you're exhausted and your capacity has been depleted? So I'm curious. Hello, Pepe. Nice to see you. I appreciate you being here. So Pepe over here, Pepe Torre, right? I watch his live stream. I have to do a translation because it is in Spanish. But he's been one of my wonderful supporters from, the beginning. And I appreciate you so much. So thank you so much. And so I want to know this question. Okay, what's one thing you keep telling yourself you need before you can finally start live streaming? Because for me, it used to be things like a better background. Like, this may seem all like fancy, but a lot of these things I've just gathered throughout the years. And a lot of the times, all you need is what you see in this frame here. You don't have to have the biggest setup. You don't have to have a separate room. My little studio here in my planner desk is part of a shared space. Over there's my dining table. Over there is our homeschooling area. Over there's my lounge. And over there's my kitchen. So I don't have a fancy room. And again, as you saw earlier from those videos that I shared of my early live streams, it looked very different. But the great thing is, when you go live, when you press go live, is you get to play. You get to experiment. You can't experiment without pressing go live. Okay, that I needed to have a cleaner setup. That's one of the things I hear from fellow content creators. My background doesn't look nice. I don't have a space to be able to have a nice background because it's either my kitchen, my lounge, or my bookshelf that looks messy. And then they try to have green screen. Yes, tidy it up a little bit so you don't have anything that's too cluttered, that's taking away the focus from you. But you don't need to have those professional podcasting looking setup. A lot of the things that have, that I kept telling myself that before I started, that, I need to be better. I need to have more confidence. I need to know what I'm talking about. I need to know I have everything all laid out and scenes, overlays, or the camera setup. That I need to feel more camera ready. Some of the videos that I've shown recently where I've gone live is just no makeup, right? Messy hair, greasy hair. Your audience that you are targeting, if they're your true audience or they become super fans, will not be worried about your background and the way you sound or the way you look. They're going to worry about, am I connecting to this person that I can listen to them long enough to be able to gather the value that I need? And I kept thinking, once I fix all those things, then I'd finally feel ready. But looking back now, I think I was expecting confidence to arrive before the experience. And for me, at least, it didn't really work that way. A lot of my confidence came from afterwards, after doing live streams, after awkward moments, after mics not being on, after ums and ahs, pressing the wrong buttons, after figuring things out as I went. So if you're here live, feel free to share yours in the chat. What's one thing you keep telling yourself you need before you can finally live stream? Because I think a lot of creators quietly carry these, I need this first, stories around in their head for a really long time. Pepe says, be prepared, be ready, go try it, and then improve. Exactly. If you're like me, I know I need to have that little bit of security to have one or two things ready. So then I'm not, doing it blind. So if you need a little bit of things to help you, press go live, have one scene where your camera, if you're sharing your PowerPoint presentation, have those ready. But if you feel like you have to have 100% ready, then you'll never go live because you're going to have those anxieties, because you're always going to be trying to continually improve. Why don't you improve while you are going live? While you are making doing it messy, doing it scrappy. Pepe says, start with what you have, enjoy it, then make the needed fine-tuning. Exactly. And, you know, if you look at Pepe Torres' YouTube videos and live streams, like I've just looked at his thumbnails, we evolve over time. So our very first videos, our very first titles, our very first thumbnails, our very first introductions, they're all, you know, probably, I know from my point of view, like cringe-worthy. But you will discover over time that you gotta start somewhere first. If you want it to always be 100% perfect, then there's always something to improve and you'll never actually start. Now, one thing I really want more people to hear is that you do not need to have everything figured out before you begin. Let me say that one more time. You do not need to have everything figured out before you begin. Most of what I know now came from doing live streams, tweaking things afterwards, noticing what worked, what didn't work, and adjusting over time. Probably in 6 months' time, I will look at this setup and go, oh, maybe I could simplify that even more. Maybe I can add this, but I won't know because what do they say? You cannot read the label from inside the bottle, right? So you need to go and press live, see in actuality how you look on camera, how you sound, and then that's when you can improve. I didn't suddenly wake up confident one day. I mean, I know when I watch them that I'll be probably going, oh, you didn't say that right, or you stumbled here. But someone who might be new go, oh, Marianne, easy for you. You sound confident on camera. But again, look back at my very first live on my other channel, Marianne Crass. I was like shaking. I could feel my chest pounding. My voice was shaking, and I didn't know which things to press. Okay, I didn't suddenly wake up confident one day. I just slowly got more comfortable through repetitions. What do they say? You got to do the reps. You can't go, oh, I did 100 sit-ups. Why aren't my abs suddenly all flat and toned and look like I have a six-pack? You got to do the reps. And sometimes the reps could just be 2 minutes of live streaming, 5 minutes. Go live on an unlisted video. Unlist it, private it, but start practicing. Start experimenting. Start playing. And I think sometimes creators imagine confidence as something you achieve before you begin. Once I'm ready, once I feel good, once I've got the nerves, once I've got everything sorted. But for me, confidence mostly came from doing imperfect, a lot of imperfect live streams and realizing, oh, that actually wasn't as scary as I thought. Now, I think the real shift for me was realizing I didn't need live streaming to feel perfect. I just needed it to feel possible. That's it. And I think more people would finally start if they stopped trying to create the perfect setup and focused more on making the process feel approachable enough to actually return to consistently. Live streaming became way more approachable for me once I simplified things a bit. Make it easy. Again, it's all about muscle memory. What do I press? Which button do I click? So if live streaming has been sitting quietly in the back of your mind for a while, I really hope this live stream reminds you that you're probably closer than you think. You probably don't need the perfect room, the perfect confidence, the perfect workflow, the perfect setup. You honestly might just need a simpler process. If it's just one camera, talking to one camera like I am right now, then that's enough, right? There's no sparkly things happening. You might just need less pressure on yourself and a few imperfect reps. One thing that helped me a lot was treating live streaming more like practice instead of performance. So maybe your challenge this week isn't to become an amazing live streamer overnight. Maybe it's just pressing go live privately or unlisted for a couple of minutes and getting used to talking and getting used to pressing that go live button and have those heart palpitations that happen when that 3-second countdown is getting to 2, getting to 1, and it's time to go press live. Look, if you want, you don't even have to publish it. Just getting comfortable pressing the button is already a huge step for a lot of people. That's genuinely what helped me most. Not waiting until I felt fully ready. Anyway, thank you for hanging out with me today. I know this stream was a little more reflective and conversational, but I think more creators need to hear that it's okay to figure things out as you go. Because that's genuinely how I learned. And if I can tell you one thing, is if you press go live now, make mistakes now, in 3 months, in 6 months, in a year, you're probably going, why didn't I start this earlier? And if you're a content creator who doesn't like editing, where editing a 4-minute video takes you 4 hours, live streaming is going to be a game changer. And honestly, that's a big part of what I want this channel to be about too. A calmer place for people who want to live stream, create or share online without feeling like they need to have everything perfect first. So if that sounds like you, you're very welcome here. And let's quickly have a look. Pepe says, this is one thing you are doing so great, doing your stuff really good since the beginning. So you will be very proud about your start when you get to the finish line. Exactly. When you start doing it, you're going to look back at the live streams you created. They're going to be actually a badge of honor. You know, all those mistakes, because then you can see your progress. You can see the wonderful improvements that you've made. And then you'll go for the next one, and so on and so on. Practicing will make you mastery. Yes, you become a master of your craft. And what happens too is then your viewer, the person that needs what you're talking about right now in their life, will be thankful for it. You're going to get wonderful comments saying, this is what I needed to hear today. Thank you so much. I've been looking for this for so long. Or you explained it so well. There might be other content creators sharing similar things to you, but the person that connects with you is going to be thankful. And if you show up more often, then they become super fans. So in this channel, I'll also be making more videos about simplifying live streaming, creator workflows, showing up online more consistently, and making the whole process feel less overwhelming. So if you want to keep going with this conversation, I would love for you to subscribe. And before we finish, I would genuinely love to know what part of live streaming still feels emotionally heavy for you right now. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Pop your answers in the comment section. Bye everybody. Bye-bye.